Well, I got some new toys. Let's have a play. So I have a few things from my favorite things, and let me show you what they are, and then we will make a card inspired by my friends. So I have Bertie Brown's new Pile on the Hugs stamp set from the MFT November release, and I'm gonna make a card. I want to make a slimline card depicting my husband and some of his friends in a snowball fight. And I thought I was going to use the Movin' and Groovin', but I actually didn't. So, not gonna lie, I had to look up the measurements for a slimline card base. So if you're interested, the slimline card measures 8.5 by 3.5. So the card base would measure 8.5 by 7. Once I figured out the size of the slimline card, I cut it down by 1/4 of an inch so that I could have a nice frame of gray from my card base behind it. I'm using Neenah 110-pound classic Crest cardstock for my background and to cut these snowy hills. These edge dies are actually really old and aren't sold anymore, but they have products very similar to these. You don't need these exact dies. So I'm going to ink blend a blue snowy background. So I think I'm gonna attempt to do something like that today. We'll see how that turns out. I'm gonna use a couple different blending brushes. This one is from Nuvo and it's like a regular old stencil brush. And then this is a makeup brush or a blender brush. My favorite technique is an ink blended background. But with frozen shoulder, it makes it really difficult and quite painful. So I don't get to do it so often. But I start really lightly with a light coating of ink using my Nuvo blender brush, and then I go with the thicker ink coating of ink with the makeup brush or the blender brush, and I go back and forth between the two. So I'm going to use some of the Distress Oxides that I used on the background and some white gouache for my snow. I've got my splat box thingy here, and this is where I like to make a mess. So I'm using the same blue shades of Distress Oxide ink, Weathered Wood, Stormy Sky, and Chipped Sapphire, and I'm taking a little bit of water and loosening them up with some water, and then I'm using the Ranger splatter brush and an acrylic block to splatter my snow on. Okay, now I don't know if this was a good idea or not, but I took my shop towel and I kind of covered up that area where I wanted to keep it white, but in the end I think it might have been a little too white. And then I decided to go in with some white gouache. Okay, and I still wet it with the water and went in with the same technique. I was much heavier handed with the white than I was with any of the blue shades. I think this gives a great look of white highlights and dark snow in the background. So I plan to color these images with alcohol markers, so I'm going to stamp it in MFT's Extreme Black ink so that it's alcohol marker friendly. So I loaded all the guys into my MISTI, and I'm stamping them in the Extreme Black ink onto Heffy Doodle alcohol marker friendly cardstock. This cardstock isn't as thick as other cardstocks that I like to use for alcohol marker coloring, but it controls your ink like you wouldn't believe. And what I mean by that is you get a longer working time with this paper. It has a glossy feel with a matte finish, so you get almost like extra time to blend your inks together. I also love how the alcohol markers seem to really pop on this paper. I still do enjoy coloring on Neenah, but now that I have this, I really haven't. So to give you an idea of what I'm doing, I'm using my Tombow ABT Pro alcohol markers. I also end up using some Copic markers. I do have an alcohol marker color map somewhere out there on my blog or Instagram. I typically take a 3 to 4 marker color combination. I take a light color, a medium color, and a dark color. Maybe sometimes 2 dark colors. And I start with the dark. I add it into the darkest parts of my image. And then I go in with the medium color and blend out that dark. And then I go in with the light color and blend out that medium color, leaving a little bit of white still to highlight the image. I don't know anything about like light sources. I just try to color the image and give it some depth and bring it to life a little bit, make the legs leg-shaped, you know? I make the puffy jacket seem or look puffier, or at least I try to. And then once I'm done going through my color combination one time and leaving a little bit of that white highlight, I go back through again, the same markers, and just intensify those colors. I maybe don't put as much of the darkest color, but really intensify the darker areas of that image. And then I choose whether or not I want to use the lightest color in my color combination to completely go over that white highlight or not. It really depends on what I'm coloring and what I think is going to look good. I try not to make it look really stupid. I've been exploring a lot of new color combinations with these Tombow ABT Pro markers. This is my little color chart that I made, but I've been like really experimenting with the colors and blending different shades and just having fun with it. I am coloring these guys to look like Tim, Mike, and Austin. You don't know who these people are. You don't care, but we do. When I sat down to color them, I really kind of thought about them and things that they wear or their personalities. You'll notice in the final photos that Austin, the character that is actually getting thrown the snowball at, I colored him with shoes untied, no shoes tied, and the tongues all flapping in the wind the best I could, because that's what Austin does. And you don't know Austin, but that's what Austin does. And me. I do the same things. I often think of Austin when I'm getting dressed and getting ready to go out, especially hanging out with Austin, because we dress very similarly because we're both really cool, you know? And sometimes I think, hey, we have to call each other and check and make sure that we're not wearing the same thing. Tim has actually known these guys the longest, so we'll look for his approval or disapproval in the comments. I'm using the coordinating dies to cut out my images today. I really wanted to use the Move-In and Groove-In slider die, but I just did not leave myself enough room on this card. So we're not going to make the slider card, we're just going to continue with the theme of the snowball fight and just see how it goes. For the sentiment, I grabbed VersaFine's Nocturne Clair ink. This is a very pigmented black ink, and I'm just stamping it in that first hill that I made with those edge dies. I chose the sentiment warmest greetings for my coolest friend. Now that we have all the pieces, all we have to do is put it together, and just like that. I used a combination of Scotch 3M foam tape and Nuvo Deluxe liquid adhesive to attach my images today. I did also draw in a few little footprints for Austin to be running in the snow. I did stick the images back in the splat box to add a little snow on the images themselves with just the white gouache. I absolutely love how the card turned out, despite the fact that I couldn't use the slider element. If you're interested in any of the products that I used in this video, I will leave links in the description box. And until next time.